Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. It's Jared and Bob, and I'm gonna do some shutting up and listening because you've got one hell of a fucking story.
Yeah, sure do. So Friday morning, I got up at 4:45. I had to be at work and I had the morning group. Um, so overnight, I generally don't sleep through the night, but overnight, Leo and I were in our room. Michaela actually wasn't sleeping in the room because she was in a different room with Sammy because we were watching her parents' dog.
Right,
So when
right,
we have
okay.
both doodles, it's a divide and conquer because I mean
Keeping them in the same
our
room
bed's
is,
big, but
yeah.
not
Well, yeah,
two
yeah.
humans, two dogs big. So I kind of noticed, I was like, it sounds like water is like gushing through the heat. And I'm like, it doesn't usually sound like that. I'm like, okay. So regardless, I had to go to work. First one in. Can't really like start fucking around that early in the morning because then no one's covering for me. But
Right.
um so I think like probably at work at some point, or maybe like when I came down, I was like, what does it mean when it sounds like it's gushing water? Like what is that?
Yeah,
And people are like, oh, it's air in the system. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Starts
I,
banging.
s-
Sounds like someone's banging on the pipes.
but I saw that a couple times and I'm like, why do I feel like that's not air in the system? It's because it sounds like it sounds like gushing water, not just like
Yeah,
running water, not banging. Like it sounds like rushing water.
yeah.
And so I go to work, I come home. I think I went to the grocery store, got back, did a couple things, was out in the yard. And then I heard it again. And I'm like, look it up again, still like air, whatever. I'm like, why don't I just go down there? Get to the bottom of the stairs. We got water. Awesome.
Fun.
So I start moving. No, I call Alvin Hall, my oil company, Alvin Hollis. That's
Yep.
fine. They did a great job. So what I'm about to tell you really is an indictment on them. So I call them and they're like, all right, well, someone will be out there by tonight or whatever. I go, great. So I start moving because we still have like we have stuff on the floor because from the move and we haven't gotten racks, whatever. So it's like it's all
Right.
concentrated in this one place where we have a bunch of shit on the floor, and I can see it. It's coming out the side of the machine, like the boiler. It's coming
Hmm.
right out the side of it. I'm like, once again, awesome.
Yeah.
So I get all of our crap out of the way to the other side, and um, at that point, I probably threw something to start like catching some of the water, and I've got the shop vac down there, like trying to do what I can. Um, so I'm kind of vacuuming everything up. Luckily, it's a concrete floor. The basement's not finished.
Right.
So there's nothing that can really like get damaged. But either way, I'm like, I've got water shooting out the side of this fucking thing. So then I'm down there. I don't even know how long it's been. No frame of reference on time. So the floor is clear, but it's wet. The thing's like fucking squirting fucking water everywhere. She calls me. She goes, "Hey, I'm home, and Alvin Hollis is here." I go, "Good, send him on down." She goes, "Well, I got Leo. I got to get rid of him." I'm like, "That's correct. So fine.
Yeah.
Run
Yeah.
outside." Guy comes in, and boy, did he seem fucking disappointed. I've never seen a fucking service provider I don't know, whatever
Yeah.
specialty. I've never seen someone like dejected the second they walked in because I think he knew that there was nothing he was gonna be able to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's looking at it, calls on back to the office. Hey, do we have this? Do we have that? He's still on the phone, like someone else is, whatever. I'm like, hey man, I know you're on hold, but like, why don't you go over there for a second? I'm gonna vacuum this up, like, because
Yeah.
now whatever I was using was filling up with water.
Right, right.
So so he goes, all right. He goes, probably can't do anything till first thing Monday morning. I go, awesome. He goes, what I'm going to do is, he goes, we have these magnet patches. He goes, we use them on oil tanks. So if your oil tank springs a leak, we put these magnet patches on and the oil doesn't leak. I'm like,
Okay. All
okay.
right. That's cool.
Now, it's not exactly a one for one here because where my leak was primarily happening was actually through a bolt.
Okay.
So on my boiler, which you probably have something very similar with a heating coil. Do you have the big water tank? No, big
Yeah.
blue tank.
Yeah.
Was
Well, we
that
have
was
a
that always there, or did
no,
you
the
add it?
no, the we don't have an Amtrol. Like we
Oh,
had an
like
Amtrol
do
in
you have like
Mansfield.
yeah? Do you have like the HTL or whatever the fuck it is? HT? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a big, I think we have a 40 gallon.
Whatever the
It's
cylinder.
just a yeah, it's a cylinder. It's a metal cylinder.
Um, so we don't have that. We just have the heating coil. So on the
Yeah, so you have
right
the
side,
tankless, right? The Amtrol tankless.
we don't have an Amtrol, but
Or
it's
yeah,
we just have the
whatever.
heating. It's just a heating coil,
Yeah,
which
because that's what we had in Mansfield. Like there's no
we yeah
physical like tank of water. The water just flows through the system and gets hot as it flows through and then goes where it needs to go.
yeah I guess I don't know. We have the
Do you
heating
ha
coil
do you
where
have a hot do you have a hot water tank?
we do not have a tank, but it gets hot right at the point of
Yeah, so
exit.
that's so that's a
So every
that
time we draw like hot water, it has to run, which is
yes,
a
so
very bad system.
that's considered a tankless system.
Oh, I thought tankless was like good. Anywho, so this guy puts this patch on. It's not leaking, but it's like manageable. So again, like he's like, best we can do is like first thing Monday. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I go, so
Yeah.
basically just keep an eye on this thing. He's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of all you can do. He goes, my only other thing was, he was like, if it was going to be like gushing, he goes, would be getting you like a pump, like the one that goes on top of like a pool cover.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, you're shitting me. I'm like, that's the solution. So, of course, this happens on a Friday.
Yep. Oh,
So
absolutely.
it didn't happen on a Sunday, be like, oh, first thing Monday. It happened on a Friday.
Yeah.
So we go, I think we went to Walmart because I'm like, all right, if I can get like a plastic, like one of the plastic bins that like goes
Yeah.
under a bed,
Yep.
I'm like, if I can get one of those, then it's like, it just will fill. Like, I don't have to
Right.
go down as frequent. I don't have to check in on it.
Right.
So go get one of those. Doesn't fit. It's too tall. I'm like, fuck.
Sick.
So I go out to the garage. Thought I had a hacksaw. I do not have a hacksaw because I'm like, oh, I'll just cut a lip into this thing. So get the reciprocating saw, cut a notch on one side, looking at it, cut a notch on the other side, and go back down. Too narrow. Needs wider notches. Great. So go to cut a notch on one of the sides, whole thing cracks.
Good.
I go, awesome.
That's not going to
So
hold water.
I go, so this thing's useless. And
It's
then
like the defense's case in My Cousin Vinny.
so
Does
we
not
go
hold water.
we go back to Walmart so that I can get an aluminum turkey tray because that's where I'm at. I'm like, we walked around the store, we looked for things like it seemed like the
Like a
aluminum
17 by 10 by 4. You know, like just a regular old pan.
dude, just like the aluminum pan that you put a turkey in. Like that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I'm like, I need it has to be that low because it's also like drip leaking. So it's not
Right.
like so I can't put a bucket out.
Yeah, it's not like a spring, right? It's not like
Right.
spraying water. It's
It
just
is
dripping straight
dripping
down.
straight down. And
Yeah.
it's like riding the side of the boiler down. So it's like it has to
Yeah.
be down low like that. And we
Yeah.
already tried to carve our own, so that didn't work. The only other thing I almost got was a thing in the car. I think it would like catch oil, but
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
same idea. Like it didn't look that much bigger.
Yeah.
So come home, and at this rate, it appears as though this thing is leaking a little bit more rapidly. So clean it up,
Good. Good.
get the stupid turkey thing underneath it. And we're basically looking at it like this turkey tray is pretty much filling up in like an hour. So every hour I'm going down with the shop vac, sucking it up, going out, dumping the shop vac. And
Which, how big
seriously,
is your shop vac?
so the shop vac is, I don't know, like it's probably less than 4 gallons, 3.5.
I was gonna
It's a
say because
small one.
it's gonna get pretty heavy though too. Even if you
So
have
that's the
three
other thing.
gallons, that's
So yeah, it's probably like a 3.5 gallon or something. But it also
yeah.
doesn't fill all the way up when it's water because it only goes up to the hose. But anyway,
Did you take the filter off, by the way?
so I put the wet filter on.
Okay, all right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say otherwise you're not gonna have a filter anymore.
yeah. Or yeah, but mine's just like a bag. So it's like the blue bag for dry and then like the
Oh,
black
okay.
sleeve for wet.
Oh,
Um, yeah, because it doesn't have it doesn't have like that like that ridge circular filter. It's a
yeah,
small
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
It's a small
Okay,
guy.
okay.
So this is my routine. So some of you may be wondering, well, if it's gonna overflow every hour, like what are you doing for sleep? The short of it, I'm not. So Friday night, I think my plan was I did I went down at like 11, took care of it. I went back upstairs, fell asleep till like 1, figured 1, I was like really hoping to like kind of sleep till 2.
Yeah,
Woke up at 3 on the couch, went down. It was it had overflowed, but like whatever, clean it up, go upstairs to sleep, sleep till 6, go downstairs, it had overflowed again, like clean it up.
yeah, yeah,
Now I'm on every hour. This is Saturday. I'm on every hour. I also had the landscapers coming to my house to do the fall cleanup, but I
yeah,
also wanted to speak to them because I just wanted to clarify, like, hey, how much are we cleaning up here? Because like it could be like some of my yard could be construed as like not the yard. So I just
right,
wanted to make sure we were like that they
right.
were getting what they would get, and that went fine, but I had to wait for them. 7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it was like after 8:30. Great. So I'm running up and down. I'm trying to figure this out. Call Alvin Hollis again. And it's like, because they're 24/7. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
woman's like, okay, like, do you want me to send someone out? I go, I go, would it be possible just to have the guy give me a call? I go, I'm not trying to waste his time or my
yeah,
money
right,
if he can't do anything about it.
right.
And she's like, okay, yeah, yeah, I'll give your info. We have it all like logged in the computer, whatever. I go, great. So every hour, dump in the shop vac, whatever. I don't even know what time of the day. What like time was just like at a fucking standstill. By like 2 o'clock yesterday, it felt like I had fought the Revolutionary War. It was like I was fucking wrecked.
And you
So
caught dysentery during it.
at some point, Alvin Hollis does call me. The guy was on call. He's like, "Yeah, hey, you want me to give you a call?" I go, "Yeah." So this is what happened. Like they did this, they did the patch. He's like, "Ooh." I go, "Fuck." He goes, "Yeah, man." He goes, "There's like nothing we can do until like Monday." I'm like, "Fucking A."
What's the magical thing about Monday?
Monday is when they can actually get the piece that they need or do the work that they have to do
Yeah,
because they don't
yeah,
have what they need.
yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just maybe there's a supplier company that they can just go to, but I'm thinking that like if they have to order a part,
They might just
you know what I mean?
overnight it and
Like,
charge me for it.
yeah, but no, but still, like if they order a part, they have to order it on Monday. They're not going to get it till Tuesday, even if they overnight it. You know what I mean?
Like they
Like
could have ordered it on Friday.
unless there's a supplier warehouse, right,
Well,
that
no, because
they
he
can
came out during
go
work
to.
hours Friday, so they could
Yeah,
have overnighted it Friday and got it Saturday.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Or yeah, maybe someone on Saturdays goes to the plumbing supply house. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, if someone takes a trip to FW Web and does, you
Whatever.
know what I mean?
Um, so he's like, he goes, yeah, man, no. He goes, the only thing you could do is like if you want, he goes, you could just shut everything down, like shut the water, shut the heat, shut everything. That way you can sleep. And I'm like, and he's like describing what to do, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. So we're just gonna let that run. I'm not gonna sleep. So now it's Sunday of that. So that's why I texted you earlier saying you have one
Yeah.
hour
Yep.
or
Yep.
less
Yeah.
because I'm gonna have to go down and fill a shop vac with water for the 30th fucking time and go dump it outside.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll fill up a bucket. This is even better. So it's like
Is the water like wicked hot too?
I wouldn't say it's wicked hot, but it is. It's warm.
It's warm. Yeah.
It's
But
warm.
it's not like the whatever, like 180 degrees
No,
or
it's not
in the
scalding
water.
hot like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it like is, but since it's dripping,
By the
it
time it gets
cools
down,
off.
it's not. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I can feel like it's warm through the hose. So it's
Yeah.
like it's at least that warm.
Right. Right.
So in the meantime, it was yesterday. Felt like I had been up for about 13 hours. It was probably 11 a.m. Bill texts me. He goes, hey, you around for like 10 minutes? I'm like, no, he's like, are you home and like available to come help me for like 10 minutes? I go, yeah, yes, and yes. What's up? He goes, oh, I'm trying to move a treadmill to the basement. I go, all right. So I walk over. It's him and Clovis and trying to get the Peloton through the slider door. And
Oh,
geometrically, doesn't look like it's going to go. But
yeah.
third person, you can tilt and
Right.
turn and dip, dive, dodge, and dive.
Yeah.
So, we're trying to get this thing in again. And then, like, Bill's like working it out. I'm like, dude, honestly, like, my brain function is like negative right now.
Yeah.
I go, I barely slept. So just let me know what we're doing here. So we're trying to get this treadmill in the house. It's not going. Like it's like it's not going to fit. It's just too big. Our options are like take the handles off the slider, but you know how that goes. Like you take a handle off, it's like then you got to put it back on. It's like it's not going to be the same after that. Like the lock's
Right.
not going to move smooth. Like whatever. So Bill's like,
Right.
I just really don't want to do that because and his other thing was he goes, if we take that handle off, we still might not get it in.
Right. Right. Right.
So we end up schlepping the fucking thing back to the garage, whatever. So he texts me later on. And he goes, hey, do you think we could, um, he goes, do you think we could like make a siphon to like, or he goes, I've got like buckets, cloths, whatever. I'm like, yeah. I go, the only problem with buckets is they're too tall. I go, I need
Yeah, it
low. He
has to
goes,
fit under the
yeah.
furnace.
And he's like, do you think we could like make a siphon, whatever? And I'm like, dude, if you want to come over and have a bourbon, we can look at it. Like, I'm like, because it's hard to explain to him. Like,
What
it's super.
orientation is the bolt at that it's dripping from? Is it like off the machine? Like, is it off the furnace?
So the furnace is a box, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So the one in Mansfield, that thing was diesel.
Yeah, the thing was fucking
Like,
huge.
so mine's more square.
Okay.
So if you're looking at the front, it the it's the right side
Okay.
of the machine, and the bolt head is pointing right.
Okay. So I'm just spitballing here. If you took a piece of string, right, would you
Would you
be
say?
able
You just fucking you said some word right when this thing fucking like sputtered on you. What'd you say?
if you took a piece of string,
Okay, string.
right, and you tied string around the bolt so that it would, it would redirect the drip, right? So like instead of the drip coming onto the furnace and traveling all the way to the bottom of the furnace where you have like a 2-inch pan that you have to fit underneath, can you tie a piece of string around where the leak is so the water will collect on the string and just drip off of the string.
So here's a prediction. I do have butcher's twine, so I could try this,
Yeah.
and I may. We'll see. Don't really know. I have a feeling. So also the siphon. So I told him just come over. We'll have a bourbon look at it because in my head I'm like the problem is, and he hasn't been over, so he's conjuring up ideas,
Yeah.
but he doesn't act. He didn't actually see what we were working with, and I was like, I just don't know if a siphon's gonna work because the tray's shallow.
Right.
So he comes over. He's got like one of those small flexible hoses. Um, we tried to get like a siphon going like the way you would think, like fill it up one end,
Right.
the other end, da, 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 whatever. Tried to use tools, like try to pull all the water through with the fucking shop vac, but that pulled too much through.
Oh yeah.
So then like the tray was almost empty. Throw like a brick on the thing. It's like we tried. This isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, yep, I guess I'll just whatever. Sit on a cucumber on this one. So the prevailing theory on what the fuck is going on is inside the coil has like a pinhole or something. So even if I can try the string. I don't know if I will. We'll see. I can try the string, but I also think that not only is it coming out through that bolt, it's also coming straight down as well.
Okay.
Because like the pinhole would theoretically be shooting water against the whole panel, and like
Right.
where it comes out is where it comes out.
Right. Okay.
Because remember when that guy when he put um that magnet patch on, it did work for like a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was still
Right.
dripping.
Right.
So
Yeah, because my
probably still need the tray underneath, and now I don't have room for both.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say my thought behind the string is that you can fit a larger bucket underneath it. So
Yeah.
it buys you more time,
Yeah.
right? If the drip is coming from 4 feet off the ground versus 4 inches off the ground.
Funny is, you know what, too, with the if I put the fucking string, it probably won't even be the bucket will probably be too tall. Or you know what, like all the piping and everything will probably be in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my weekend.
That's fantastic.
Now tomorrow I was like so I mean like I gotta work, but like so now I'm gonna like hang here and like I'm like, how long? He goes, well, if all goes well, I go, sure. He's a couple hours. I go, that's perfectly fine. And he's like, if it doesn't, I'm like, he goes, could be like a few. I'm like, dude, do you think I could leave at like 1 o'clock, like 1:30? Because that's like the really old. So like my day tomorrow, yes, I had to cancel someone. I can do a lot of what I need to do tomorrow from here, right? Just at computer
Right,
with internet.
right, right.
But I'm like, it's really gonna fuck up Tessa's schedule if I can't be there for 3:15.
Yeah,
So it's like, really, that's the only thing I have to do. Like,
yeah, yeah.
have to do.
Oh, and at least it works out that you can be home in the morning, right? I thought you were talking about like the opposite, like you had to go in the morning and you were going
No,
to come back in the afternoon. Well,
no.
it's good. I mean, at least it'll be there in the morning. Because what I was going to say too is depending on how long it goes, I don't look at the weather ever really because it's not golf season. But depending on how cold it's going to get, I was gonna say like crank your heat like when you get up in the morning at like 5 o'clock or whatever, crank your heat and then just fucking kill it and like just completely like because also when the guy comes to fix whatever he's gonna do, he's gonna
Yeah,
shut the
shut it off.
heat off and all the hot water to the whole house. So I mean, you got brand new windows, you should be good to hold the heat,
Yep.
but we'll see.
I would say
Because that's the
brand new
other
windows
thing
only do
too.
so good when it's fucking 27 outside.
True, right? Because that's the other thing I was going to say is not that it's going to happen that quickly, but then you have to deal with frozen pipes, right? Like again, it might be 40 degrees tomorrow and it's not a problem, right?
It's gonna, yeah, it's gonna get up at some
But
point.
if this again, if this was like, the middle of January where the high was going to be like 4 degrees, I'd be like, dude, I don't know. You're gonna have to go around with a fucking hair dryer in the basement, like on all the pipes, keeping them warm.
That's good. I was gonna say now. Obviously, Michaela probably has stuff. You know where my heat gun is? The gym.
It's good, yeah,
Good place for it.
yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But it's a lot easier.
Yeah,
I know as miserable as a sauna would be at having your house at like 78 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning.
we're not doing that.
By noon, it might be like 50.
Yeah, we're
But
not doing this.
if you start at 68, by noon, it could be like 45.
I don't even fucking care, dude. Just get in here and fucking fix the fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so fucking annoying. Obviously, too, on a
And like
Friday, like
seriously,
you
it's
said.
like I just like look at it. I go, so you either come down here every hour or you just flood your basement, like to an
Yeah.
extent, just flood your basement like that. Though,
Yeah.
like I just love that. Like those are the two options.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mate, when again, it's like I could have shut everything down, but I'm like, I don't want to shut everything down. That's the other piece. If I shut everything down and it doesn't come back, now what?
Right. Because now you don't have heat.
Yeah. So got
So
about
what you got
30
to do
minutes left.
now is you got to switch your whole house heating system to forced hot air instead of hot water and baseboard.
I already know too. I'm probably gonna tell the guy tomorrow. I go, dude, just whoever does sales, just tell him to get me a fucking quote on a replacement.
Yeah.
Because
But yeah,
obviously
because that's
this,
the thing too. They can come in and they can fix whatever they're going to fix. But like, who's to say 6 months from now you're not going to have the same issue,
well, it's
right?
yeah, and or it's like, I mean, it's an old system,
Right.
so it's like it could have 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 3 months, 5 months, 10 minutes. Like I don't know.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I'll be get me a quote and tell me how fucking long, because how long does it take? How much money? How long does it take? When can you start? Because
Yeah. I feel like a furnace is, I mean, usually like 2, 3 grand.
no, it's a little bit more than that. So remember in Mansfield, the
Well, the one we
guy.
had was like 6 grand.
Well, that's just the boiler. That's no
Well,
labor.
yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like just a new furnace is like 2, 3 grand. Like once you have like the labor and everything else, you're looking at
Yeah.
probably 3, 4, but or somewhere between 3 to 5.
So I want to say a new boiler installed is probably going to be like 10 installed.
Fuck, that's a lot.
Well, because if it's 6 grand in equipment, you need plumbing, you need pipes, time, guys, like you got to dispose of the old one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm thinking it would be like 10. Now, my other question is because what they'll probably want to do as well is put in a water heater, or they'll probably want to put in a tank. Now, the tank was like installed, what was quoted in like 2018, 2019. I was quoted for like 2 grand or something like that. So, I don't know. I think it's gonna be like 10 to 12 to replace it.
Yeah, that sounds fucking miserable. So is it the actual furnace then, or is it the tankless heating, like heater?
I'm gonna Google something really quick
Do you
because
have
I don't think I
two
have it.
do you have two separate like units?
No. Yeah, so I don't have a tankless water heater.
Okay. So you
My
do
mother
have
has one of these in the cottage.
so you do have a water tank somewhere then.
No, I have a coil in the boiler.
Huh. I don't know. Clearly I'm not a plumber.
Clearly. Yeah, because it's like it would be like when we were in Mansfield if the big blue tank wasn't there,
Yeah.
and then like that's just kind of like it. Like that's it. Like that's all there is.
Yeah. Well, that big blue tank that we had was not a tank. I think that one specifically, the way it was created, it had a reserve tank. Like I think it had like a 20-gallon reserve. So theoretically, yes, like there was some hot water that stayed in that tank, but it was technically considered a tankless system. We just had like the fucking Mercedes Benz of uh water heating systems in that house for some reason. I'll never forget when we were doing the inspection and Chris, the home inspector, goes down and goes, "What the fuck is this thing doing here?" I remember being like, "What? Like, is that not what's going on?" He goes, "This is insane." He goes, "This is like beyond the Cadillac of heating systems."
Eat that. Do you remember? It wasn't
Badar
Burnham.
Badaris. So that's what he I think what he said too was that there's like every however many years you're supposed to call Badaris to come like clean out the carbon filter. So like a normal like oil company can do like whatever maintenance or whatever. But like there's something about like inside of a Badaris, you need an actual, you know, Badaris agent, right, to come out and do whatever the fuck because it's a German company.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope Alvin Hollis was doing that there because that's what I was telling them to do, or at least their best.
Yeah. So, um, all right. So before we wrap things up, the one thing that has been kind of I don't know about the news, right? I don't watch the news, but it's been all over Twitter is these drones that are everywhere. Have you seen anything about that or heard anything about that?
If it didn't soak the floor of my basement, no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
So it started out probably about a week ago. There were UAP sightings, right? Unidentified aerial phenomenons. That's what we call them now. We don't call them UFOs anymore. Um, so there were a bunch of UAP sightings all over New Jersey. Um, so everyone was calling in. They were calling like the FBI because there were so many of them. Um, People were kind of going nuts, right? People were freaking out. They were posting videos on Twitter, and they were saying that there were people that were there that were trying to fly their drones close to whatever was going on, and their drones would like fall out of the sky. Like their batteries would just die, like their drones would stop working, like their like personal private drones would get all fucked up. So come to find out, right, they are drones, right, that are flying in the air. Allegedly, no one knows who they belong to. I think on like Thursday of last week, someone tried to come out and said that they were Iranian drones and that Iran had a mothership off the east coast of the US where they were launching these drones from and they were hovering over the east coast. And everyone was like, oh my God, Iran, they're flying drones, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm not a drone expert. I'm not a dronologist, if you will. And the very little that I do know about drones, I know that's fucking horseshit because drones only have like a certain, you know, flight capability, right? So if if there were a ship large enough to house all these drones off the east coast of the United States, you're gonna tell me that we're not gonna fucking see it? We just have no idea that there's a ship somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean that has drones coming around everywhere. You can fuck right off, right? They're not Iranian drones. Because then everyone was like, oh my God, they're gonna drop nuclear weapons and oh my God, we're gonna go to war and all this stuff. So it's not from Iran, right? However, the drone sightings have shifted, right? So throughout last week, they went from New Jersey, now they were up in New York and Connecticut, and now there were some I think yesterday, either Friday or Saturday night, um, there were calls into the Mass State Police because they were seen all over the skies in Massachusetts. Um, One of the towns that had a lot of sightings was Plainville, right, which is right next to me. I didn't see any. I wasn't looking for them either, but um, I didn't see anything. I didn't notice anything, I should say, because I wasn't looking. Um, so I saw a very interesting video that Joe Rogan actually reposted, and it was a guy who owns a drone company that is a holds private military contracts with the US government, right? So he's the CEO of effectively like, uh, Lockheed Martin that only makes drones, right? Whereas Lockheed makes all kinds of weird military industrial complex shit. Like his company only makes drones and he has contracts with the government. So he makes a video and he goes, you know, he runs through like, ba, 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 this is my thing. This is what I study. This is what I do. This is the company. This is what we do, all that shit, right? And he goes, in my experience, he goes, I don't think these are hostile drones. He goes, it doesn't make any sense as to why you would fly drones at night because they have limited like sight capabilities. So he goes, what's most likely happening is they're looking for something. So a bunch of people have like linked, they've trying to do the Pepe Sylvia, right, where they draw all these conclusions, and they jump on their mats. And apparently, there's been some nuclear warheads that have gone missing in Ukraine, and no one knows where they went. And so some people are claiming that perhaps they made their way to the US and these drones that are flying everywhere that people are calling in to the FBI about and the Mass State Police and all this stuff for UAP sightings, are actually the US government drones, right? They're by our own government and they're looking for something. They're trying to see if they can detect any nuclear radiation anywhere to try and see if they can locate um, any of these warheads, right? So um, he also cited that, remember, we talked about it on the podcast, I think, maybe like a year ago. There was a truck carrying some sort of like radioactive isotopes on it or something, and it just got lost. Remember, it just like fell off the truck, or it just got
Yeah,
like
vaguely,
misplaced.
vaguely.
Yeah, yeah, it was on a highway somewhere in like maybe the Midwest or the Southwest or something. I don't know, some like remote area. Maybe it was like Arizona, New Mexico, like that area. Um, to find it, they had drones, right? They launched a fuck ton of drones and they were out scanning everything to see if they could pick up any radioactive, you know, material, whatever the fuck they're scanning. Um, so I think that's probably most likely what's going on. And it's mildly concerning, right? Like the drones themselves aren't hostile, right? Because everyone being like, oh, they're Iranian drones that are gonna strike and attack everyone and they're gonna blow up the state of New Jersey. And it's like, no, 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 no. These drones belong to the US government, right? Like I think that's pretty clear, that the government really doesn't have much to say about it. It's because they belong to the government. Now, what they're actually doing is, I think, what this guy had alluded to is they're looking for something, right? They're trying to see if they can find something somewhere. And if that means that there's potentially, missing nuclear warheads that have gone missing from Ukraine that could be somewhere on the east coast of the United States, that's a potential problem. I would like to, you know, just put that out there, right? Like that's probably an issue. Um, but like I said, the drones themselves are not concerning, right? And they're not aliens, right? They're just drones that are owned by good old Uncle Sam. But the purpose and what they're doing, right? If they are searching for, radioactive isotopes that can be found in nuclear warheads that went missing halfway around the world, um, yeah, that would give me pause.
I do think it's a missed opportunity to blow up New Jersey, though.
For sure, yeah.
They could have Connecticut too.
Yeah, they can have all of it. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, just to, button that one up, it's just let people be retarded and just move on, I think. I think that's how you just handle it.
yeah, yeah, I mean it was fun at first, right? Because everyone was like, "Oh my God, aliens are invading New Jersey." And I was like,
No,
"No,
Iran's advisor. It's like
yeah,
Red Dawn when the Soviets invaded Michigan. Iran's invading New Jersey.
yeah."
They're there for the bagels and the pollution.
Yeah. So, yeah, just kind of interesting, right? Again, no one is confirming anything. This is just it's all conjecture and it's all, you know, trying to connect dots and do all kinds of other stuff. But yeah, so it was interesting.
Isn't one of those theories like the simplest answer is usually the right one? Is that like one of
Yeah,
those things people say?
that is Occam's razor. Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, there's drones that like whatever. It's like, I don't know. Perhaps they're ours and perhaps they're looking for something.
Yeah.
Because again, what the fuck would Iran want with New Jersey?
Yeah, exactly.
And the aliens definitely don't want New Jersey.
No, for sure. Well, I mean, now they're up in all the way up here, right, in Massachusetts. They were on the Cape. I think there was a bunch of people on the Cape calling in, you know, oh my God, there's stuff in the sky. Which also, too, like, that just seems like an odd thing to call 911 about. Like, if I saw lights in the sky, I'd go and grab my phone and video them and put it on Twitter and be like, oh shit, look, it's fucking aliens, dude. Or I'd like yell up to Amy and be like, oh, there's aliens outside. I mean, I wouldn't like my first reaction to like hovering lights in the sky wouldn't be to call 911 because what the fuck are they gonna do? You know what I
No,
mean? Like even if it let's play the game, right? If it were aliens, right? Or even if they were Iranian drones, what the fuck is North Attleboro PD gonna do? They're,
Well, I was even like, so like, okay, if I take Leo out tonight and I look up and there's like lights in the sky, like I'm probably just gonna bring him back inside and go about my night.
yeah. Yeah,
Finish
exactly.
watching The Godfather 2, I assume, while hopefully remembering to go vacuum up some water.
Yeah, this being watched in 45-minute sprints so you can vacuum
I
water.
watched a lot of it. So I forgot because I usually don't ever watch it beginning to end. I actually forgot that there's a legit intermission in The Godfather 2.
Oh wow.
They actually flash it. So like obviously too, if you watch it on TV, they don't flash that. So it's like
Right.
you need to watch like the real version of it and you gotta go. It's after Vito kills Don Fanucci
Oh.
in New York.
Oh wow.
I think it's right after he kills him. I think it's right after he kills him. They go to an intermission because then that's when the movie. So like then the movie itself, Vito starts coming up as Don Vito,
Right.
and that's also about the time in the movie where Michael finds out that Fredo's the one who betrayed him. Yeah, I mean, like legitimately, it flashed on the screen. Intermission. I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, it's been a long time. Again, a long time since I've watched this movie in
Right.
its full beginning to end, and in like theatrical form.
I think on TV with commercials, it's like 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours,
I
maybe.
want to say it's three.
Six is aggressive. Probably
I want to
five.
say if I was checking correctly, I think it's 3:15 on the version I got last night.
Yeah.
That probably includes 15 minutes of credits, but still, it's like a 3 hour runtime.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's probably pushing 5 hours on TV. All right. Well, do you want to wrap this up so you can go vacuum some water?
Yeah, we can wrap this up. So, you and I last Saturday went and got a snowblower
Yes, we did.
from Medford. So, brought it back on Saturday. On Sunday, I started it up and it turned over. It worked after I like blew the leaves out of it and everything. So it turned on. I pushed the choke in and it dies. I'm like, damn. Try to turn it over. It wants to go, but it won't go. I'm like, all right. So before I like call a person, I go, I'll get a new spark plug. So go to Lowe's. Honda has two spark plugs at Lowe's. A BP something something 6ES or a BP something something 5ES. And I'm like, oh shit, I think it's the 5. But on the package it says for walk behind mowers only. I'm like, well, it's not a walk behind mower, so I'll get the 6.
Right.
And I went over to the sockets and I bought a spark plug socket. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this doesn't look big enough. But it's the only one that says spark plug socket. No other spark plug sockets, just this one. Okay, so I'll buy the spark plug socket. And I was still looking at it, I'm like, I don't think this is gonna fucking go. And one of the guys at the gym goes, well, if it says it's a spark plug socket, it'll work. I'm like, all right.
Okay.
So Wednesday was the day it absolutely fucking pissed rain, right?
Yep.
So I didn't try to start it on Wednesday. So it took me fucking almost a week to try to start this fucking thing. So I get back and from wherever on Friday before I found the water. And I'm looking at it and this sock, it's not gonna the socket's too small. I go, I fucking knew this wasn't the right fucking thing. So in our first trip to Walmart, we did get a new socket. So I'm like, I've got the right one. Like at this point, I know it's got to fit.
Right.
Get home, yep, it fits, no problem. So then I've been dealing with the water for 2 straight days. So then today, I'm like, all right. Oh, I'm sorry. And in the meantime, yes, it was supposed to be the 5, the spark plug. It was supposed to be the 5. So I
Of
went to Home
course.
Depot this morning, bought the 5, came back, and I take the socket and it doesn't fit. And I'm like, it's too short. Like the piece is too short. And I go,
Okay. Yeah.
how the fuck is this possible? I'm like, it's the fucking like this is like you can't get more like you can't do more than this because if it's too big, then you can't actually get it into the threads
Right.
because it'll
Right.
be too big. I go, what the fuck? And I know I'm sleep deprived and I know I can't fucking figure this out. So I'm on Reddit and I'm trying to fucking do this. Rubber stopper in the socket. Didn't even know it was in there. Don't know why it's in there, but fine.
Okay.
Pop the rubber socket out. We got action. Now it fits. I'm like, thank God, because I was going to
Yeah.
lose my fucking mind. Go out, put it in, starts right up. I'm like, thank the fucking Lord. Because I was
Yeah.
waiting. I was just waiting for it to not work. And now that my Monday is fucked up at work, that means I'm probably going to have to go in early Wednesday and work like a 14-hour day or something. And which means if I want someone to come out and look at this thing, it was probably going to be Friday just so that they could show up, be like, yep, it's fucked up. I'll have to get some pieces and come back. Great.
Yep.
See you in 2 weeks or some shit. And then I'm like, this is going to be like a month-long process,
Yep.
maybe more because of the holidays.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true too.
But it started up. So the snowblower works. It's in, it's done. I don't know if I'm going to change like the pads and stuff, but all that is just like screws and stuff. I'm like, the
Yeah.
engine
Yeah.
works
Yeah,
at
that's the
least
main
once.
thing.
Oh, I also didn't have fuel for it for a few days. Like that was another thing. I'm like, oh, I'll start it up, and I'm like, I don't have fuel.
Yeah. Is it a two-stroke or a four-stroke?
Or cycle, I believe is the correct terminology. I'm also a retard with this stuff. Like I don't
Do you
use
do you have the oil? Do you have the oil and gas separate, or is it one fuel can that's a
separate.
pre-mixed?
Wait,
Okay.
hold on. So like I can check the oil through the oil
Yeah,
gauge.
there's a dipstick, right, for the
Yes.
oil. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the fuel goes in the top
Yeah.
in the
So
in the
like
fuel tank.
my leaf blower, right, and might just be my leaf blower. Um, I buy pre-mixed gas and oil. It's like it's a 50 to 1 ratio. So it goes through the system. There's no separate tanks.
Oh.
But like
Yeah, so it does
my
have
snowblower, right? My snowblower and my lawnmower have an oil compartment where I can physically change the
yeah,
oil on it.
that's what mine
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
Now I did go and buy like the ethanol free shit in a can.
Oh, it's made out of corn syrup.
I don't know what the fuck it's made out of, but I didn't want to because this is the other thing. Is like when you look this stuff up, they're like, well, if you're gonna get gas, you should probably only get gas, but like use it within a month, or else like it'll fuck your engine up. And then like if you use like regular gas, like make sure it's this and make sure it's that. And if you leave it in there for too long, make sure it's this and make sure you run it down. I'm like, what the fuck? And then they're like, yeah, if you just get the other stuff, like it's cool. And they're like, oh my God, but it's like so expensive. And I'm like, it's 25 bucks. So like I understand compared to a gallon of gas, it's ridiculously priced.
Right, right.
But I'm like, all you people are talking about like if you don't take these 12 steps, your carburetor fucking explodes. So why don't I just get the shit that's going to be fucking fine?
Yeah,
So snowblower, check. That one's done.
gotcha.
But again, not for lack of trips, frustration, sockets.
Wow, I just looked it up. Um, I think all this time, again, hey, not a mechanic, not only am I not a plumber, I'm also not a mechanic. All this time I thought two-stroke, four-stroke meant you either have to mix the oil and gas yourself or it has two separate compartments. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how the engine itself actually works. A four-stroke engine has, wait for it, four separate actions that happen for the piston to fire in the engine, right? Intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust. And a two-stroke just has two. It just has intake and compression, and then power and exhaust goes on the other way. So I have no idea now what it's called when you have an engine that you need to have pre-mixed gas or you keep it separate.
Me neither.
Yeah. Maybe that is a cycle, right? Maybe you were right. Maybe it is the
No,
cycle. I don't know.
no, neither.
I should ask ChatGPT. Oh, it is a cycle.
Mm-mm. Again, I
Oh,
just bought the can of fucking shit that I thought I was supposed to buy.
so I was right. It's saying a two-stroke slash two cycle mixed fuel. So the two-stroke, that which is what I thought, right? So I thought the two-stroke was the one that you have to pre-mix, right? Which nowadays you don't need to pre-mix because you can just buy it in a can pre-mixed. And I thought the four-stroke was the one that had a separate, oil filter. So maybe I am right. I don't know. Who
Uh,
knows? Again, not a mechanic.
mine's separate. That much I do know.
Yeah. Um, all right. So my final thought is I'll keep it a simple one. So I saw the Doge boys, the Doge bros, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk mentioned a couple weeks ago that they wanted to get rid of daylight savings time because they thought it was dumb. And I just saw like 2 days ago, Trump tweeted and said that once he gets into the White House, he's going to push to remove daylight savings time also, which again, we're on the record all aboard.
Wait,
However,
no, I
however,
don't
and
want. I
that's
no, no.
that's again, this is what I'm getting at. I need some clarity on what exactly is going to happen here because completely abolishing daylight savings time
I mean standard time year round.
means standard time year round, which means it gets dark at 3:30 in the winter and it gets dark at like 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the summertime. I
Yeah,
don't
like
want that.
7:15.
I want dark at 5 o'clock in the winter and 9 o'clock in the summer. I want the light later in the day. I do not give a shit about, I'm not a farmer, right? I'm not farming in Oklahoma where the days get to be 110 degrees in July. I want sun later in the day. So when I get home from work, I still have sunlight and I can do shit.
That's where I'm at. I hate it. I hate it too because right now it's 6 a.m. in Massachusetts. It's fucking dark. So it's
Yeah.
like people are always like, "Well, I want it to be light at 6 a.m." It's not fucking light. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
stop. It's light at like fucking 6:20, 6:30.
Yeah.
Like, enough of this shit. And then yeah, it's dark at 3:45. Like, fuck this.
Yeah. Luckily, we only have like 5 days until
Because hey, the other piece of that, remember, it's gonna be
the
fucking light
winter
at
solstice.
it's gonna be light at 4 a.m. if it's standard time all the time.
Right. Yeah. You want light at
Like,
4
what the fuck
a.m.
do we
in
need light
July?
at 4:45, 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah. Don't need it.
It's a waste of light.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am, again, we're on record multiple times. We're on board for this. However, we need to make
Yeah,
this
I know
the
we need
proper
to
situation.
abolish standard time.
Yeah. Or, yeah, we need to adopt daylight savings permanently.
Although I did see some of this, and again, I gotta go. Like, we'll wrap this up in a second. It does seem at least like the people who say like, oh well, I don't like it being dark on my morning commute, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck your commute is, but anyway, because it's dark at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
At least those people say like, I don't want to change it. It's like, okay, fine. I'm not seeing anybody say we need standard time all the time.
Yeah.
I'm seeing none of that.
Right.
Because the other piece is for like northern states, which we are a northern state, but there are more northern states than
Right.
Massachusetts. They're gonna have light at fucking 3 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like, what purpose, like, what benefit does that serve? So I hope they are gonna go daylight savings year or yeah, daylight savings time year round. That's what I want.
Right. Agreed. So we'll see. They'll probably fuck it up. Or realistically, nothing will change. They won't do anything. We'll just continue to do the stupid clock change thing every year. So uh all right. Well, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy. Get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm underscore speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support the sponsors, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.